Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is Yannick Parch, and with me is Tim Diacono, and we're going to be running you through today's headlines. Before we start, just a quick reminder: if you haven't yet subscribed to Lovin Digest, do so. You'll receive a daily breakdown of the day's top stories straight to your inbox. So today's headlines. HAMRUN Spartans boss Joseph Portelli has revealed his intention to buy a foreign football club. A notorious murderer's MOSTA field is slated to become a family park. A renowned restaurant has been forced to close on Tuesdays due to a serious staff shortage. A PN candidate who condemned Republican Civil Society Network has been forced to issue an apology, and Ben CAMILLE is set to host the third season of X Factor Malta.
Yeah, so interesting story yesterday. Joseph Portelli, the president of HAMRUN Spartans, who has already taken this club to to new heights in Malta, has revealed his next step. And his next step entails buying a foreign football club at the level of, he said, Serie A in Italy, or League Two in England. It could be another club. And the overseas, and the reason he wants to do this is because he admitted that there's a ceiling in Malta that cannot be broken at the moment, in the sense that no matter how attractive the wages you offer certain players overseas, if a player is starting out in their football career, they're not going to want to come to Malta, because once you come to Malta, there's not much marketing ability, the league is limited, so you're taking a step down in your career. So even if you double their wages, say for example I would imagine from like a League Two team in England to come to Malta, if you're at the start of your career showing some promise, you're going to come to Malta, which is understandable. And I'm not exactly sure how this foreign club will intend to breach that. I mean, he kind of made it seem like it would be a bit of a feeder club, or they'll feed players to each other. I mean, I'd like to see where this goes, to be honest. I really think that Maltese football does need to become a bit more international. We can't just remain locked playing against each other and then hoping for good results for the sake of the international team at the end of the day.
I think the idea would be to be able to even send sort of local footballers here to play in the foreign league, for them to even gain experience there. But yeah, it's an interesting suggestion. I think that the MFA had also floated something similar at a point, buying an Italian club to raise the standard. So we'll see what comes of it. On to our second story. An abandoned field in MOSTA, which was previously owned by the notorious murderer Fenech, is going to be transformed into a family park for the local community. Fenech was a notorious murderer who had gone on the run in June 1963 following the murder of Vella. He became Malta's most wanted man, but avoided arrest for months by hiding at various sites around Malta, including caves and the areas in the countryside. He eventually gave himself up and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But now the government has decided to turn his field into a family park as part of a 4.5 million investment in parks across the island. The aim of the project is to create as many green spaces within urban areas, ideally, within walking distance from most people's homes, so that people can enjoy the open space, which is becoming more and more limited. The field contains many indigenous trees, like cypress and olive trees, and will be designed in a way that makes it accessible to all people of all ages and all capabilities. Yeah. Quite a good initiative.
More of this, please. And we're seeing a number of urban greening projects. I mean, I might just hope it's not just, maybe a bit of a cynical side of me would suspect it's a bit of a pre-electoral strategy by politicians to appease their constituents. But I hope it's not just this, that it's part of actually a more wider plan to make our urban areas greener, because it's not just enough to like plant trees entirely and have and bosquet. I mean, the urban areas need to be greener for our way of life and our quality of life. Next story is about one of Malta's most famous and most renowned restaurants, Giuseppe's in Salina Bay, has announced that it's been forced to close its doors on Tuesdays due to a serious staff shortage. Now, it's not the first restaurant that's done that. There are others, for example, Adam Singh Zero, who announced it had to reduce its working hours not because of the lack of business, but because of the lack of staff. That they can't find enough people to cover the hours properly. And the fact that it happened to a restaurant like Giuseppe's, which is like an award-winning restaurant, it shows how serious this problem is. The restaurant industry has been talking about this for months. They've even proposed reducing tax on overtime to make the catering sector more appeasing for people. Nothing's been done really, and it seems to be getting worse. Now, some people keep insisting that the problem is about wages. Now, Maltese people don't want to work in industries that only offer them €5 an hour. Let's not just rush to conclusions so early. And some restaurants do offer very decent salaries. So the problem also comes with the conditions, right? The fact is that some people don't want to work in jobs where you'll be forced to work night shifts and weekends. And obviously with COVID restrictions, it's very hard to employ foreign people. So I'm not sure what can be done about it.
No, I think wages are definitely a factor in that.
They're a factor.
There are some, yes, but
not the only factor.
No, they aren't the only factor. No, obviously, as you say.
And not all restaurants are the same either.
No. I'd say probably offering more incentives, especially when it comes to kind of wages and sort of working conditions, would be a step in the right direction. But yes, ultimately, it requires the industry to be studied and to really come up with proper policy to ensure that this stops. The next story is about a PN candidate, Alex Borch, who has wholeheartedly condemned the NGOs, Republica, and also the youth group Civil Society Network, describing them as irrelevant to his work. Borch shared a Facebook poll by Civil Society Network yesterday, which asked whether a new political party should replace the faltering PN as Malta's main opposition. This did not go down very well with Borch, who quickly moved to disassociate himself from both Civil Society Network and Republica, whose principles, he said, went contrary to those of the PN. His post comes following a meeting between Republica and the PN administration, and also the Labour Party the Labour media pressing this point, mainly with the intention of creating divisions within the PN, especially between voters or officials more loyal to former leader Lovin Daily. So there is an element of that going on. Borch urged all PN activists, members and candidates to also disassociate themselves from the two groups. Civil Society Network sprung into prominence in wake of the assassination of journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia in 2017, and has been involved in a number of street protests demanding justice. Similarly, Republica was also set up following the assassination, and has been a key part of civil society, especially in holding government to account at many times in the absence of an effective opposition.
Well, you mentioned divisions, and the divisions in the PN are clearly there and they're visible for all to see. But I think it's also it is extremely unfair to misrepresent the situation, right? As in, Civil Society Network was the strange thing about it is that what makes it a bit confusing is that it changed. So the original CSN is not the current CSN. The current CSN is a group of youths who are politically active, or not politically interested. They have a page which is quite a strong following on Facebook, and they often post engaging and oftentimes very controversial posts. But at the end of the day, they have a right to do. So like this controversial poll, for example, was asking people whether a new opposition should form up because, as they said, the PN is faltering. Now, one made it sound that as though they're threatening to form their own party against against the pier.
After the fact, the first
And it's,
headline,
I mean, it might be like it might sound a bit funny, but at the end of the day, like these are a group of youth, and like let's just see the situation for what it is, and let's not misrepresent it and see that these are like some kind of devious actors who want to take over the pier, because it's not true, and it's only. Well, yeah, even if they were, maybe then you can see it a bit differently. But come on, like let's not misrepresent these groups. I mean, at the end of the day, democracy does need groups like this, and yeah, like why not be critical of the powers that be. And finally, X Factor Malta season 3, as you probably know, is returning this year, and it's been confirmed that Ben Camille will be the host again for the third season. Good news. Looking forward.
To X Factor, Ben Camille.
to both of them.
Yeah,
the whole experience.
I would say so.
So yeah,
I love to hate it, but I watch it anyway. So
they speak for many people. Exactly. It's actually Malta's most popular show when it's on. It had to take a break last year because of COVID-19 reasons, and Malta's Got Talent came up instead of it. It is extremely popular, and the whole point of this is to find and like a top singer. Although this year it's going to be detached from the Eurovision aspect of it, so which many people have been calling for a while, which is going to make it, I think, an even more interesting performance. You're choosing a proper singer, like your best singer, and not someone you want to represent Malta at the Eurovision Song Contest. It's similar, but it's not always the same. The same things apply. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this as something for TVM this summer.
Hopefully
and
we'll have some new acts. Because I always wonder whether we have enough people to actually like.
Not the same singers coming back after 2 years to try it again. Yes, and that's all from us today. Let's make sure you follow lovinwars.com for all the latest updates, and have a day full of loving.